This is a head from a 1983 R100RS, and I'm going to dual plug it, so there'll be another spark plug hole board right about here. I find that that tends to have better gas mileage, and I kind of like that configuration. I've got it on 2 other bikes I own. These heads are notorious for having problems. It's called valve recession, and it occurred on the exhaust valves. The reason for this is that we went to no lead gas, and what happened then is that the valve seats were not able to survive. So on the bikes up to about 1980, the seat would wear away and the valve would move into the seat, as in recession or recede, and you would end up with failure. Ultimately, you actually could end up with valve failure, snapping the head off. About 1980, BMW changed the seat to a new material, and that unfortunately ended up wearing away the valve. The seat was too hard and didn't really transfer heat fast enough. So the valve started to wear away, which essentially gave you valve recession. But the bad news on that is it also, if you let it go long enough, you could break that valve tulip, meaning the face of the valve could break, chip, crack, and or come off. So not a good thing. 1985, they finally got everything right and the problem went away. Now you can do a visual inspection of the exhaust valve, and you can look here at the lip right at the edge of the valve face. And if now for this kind of bike, like an 83 or any of the bikes 80 to 84, what's happening is the valve will wear away. So what that becomes is like a knife edge, or some people call it a pizza cutter. So if you see almost no edge there, you've got recession going on. You've probably already noticed that because you're having to change your valve clearances pretty frequently. Anyway, I'm going to pull the valves out of here and we're going to take a look at them and see what condition they're in. And the fellow that's going to put in the dual plugging for me also rebuilds heads, so whatever we need to do, he can take care of. I want to do a test to see how well the valves are sealing on the seat. And the way I do that is I take some gasoline and I put it into the intake and into the exhaust, and then look at the face of the valve to see if there's fuel leaking. So I have some gasoline here and a syringe, which is a kind of easy way to put it in. I'm just going to inject the gasoline. And so there's gasoline now in the exhaust chamber. And then if I turn this over, I can look at the valve face, and I think, as you can see, there's fuel leaking out of that valve face. Consequently, that valve's not really seating, so that's not what you want. That will lead to excessive valve wear and ultimate failure. So at the very minimum, these valve seats need to be recut to the proper dimensions. I'm going to do that same test now on the inlet valve and see what condition the seat and face of the valve are in, which is to say, are they tightly seating or is there problems with that? Once again, just insert some fuel into the intake passage, and then we'll take a look-see at what's going on. And as you can see, there's decidedly fuel leaking out of that inlet, so that too is not seating properly, which is not a good thing. So I'm going to remove the exhaust valve out of the left head. And I have this handy little tool here that compresses the valve springs. So I put that on the top of the valve keeper and the bottom, and I tighten it up, which is always great fun. So I have the spring compressed far enough that the little collets that are on the top of the valve stem are loose, and I should be able to pull them out. I don't know if you can see, but they're in here, and what I like to do to get them out is just use a magnet, and usually it'll just pull it right out. So there's one of the collets, and you can see it has a set of ridges in it, and the top is wider than the bottom, and then they come in halves, so there's a second piece there. There we go. So we've got that out of there. So all I need to do is release the spring pressure, and then we can remove the valve assembly. So now that I have the tool off, I can take the valves out. This is the top keeper, and then the spring, and then there's a bottom plate for the spring to fit in. So essentially it all goes together kind of like that. And then to get the valve out, it's real easy. You basically just push it out from the top, and it'll slide right out from the bottom. Now I was going to show you how the valve keepers work, or I should say the valve collets work with the top keeper, but the valve runs through like that. You'll notice the collet's designed with a wide top and a narrow bottom, so the fits in the little grooves in the head of the valve stem, one side and the other, and then when the spring pressure is applied, it pushes the keeper up, which squeezes the collets tight around the stem of the valve and keeps the valve connected to the spring as it moves up and down. Another thing I can do is measure the height of the spring. They get hot and they get pounded all the time, so eventually they lose their springiness and they can actually shorten up. So a first order check is just to see what the height is of the spring, and I come up with about 45 millimeters. These are green springs, meaning they have the green paint on them. There's some different colors that you can find, and sometimes that'll change the spring height that you're looking for, but the books indicate approximately 43 millimeters, meaning there's variation that's acceptable. I'm at 45, so this one's not sagged. That said, springs are cheap, and we're already going to be working on the head, so I fully expect Randy will replace these springs and put new ones in, because while you're there, why not? And then you don't have to worry about that. This is the exhaust valve that I removed, and I took a wire wheel to get a lot of the deposits off of it. What I want to do is measure that face here right at the edge, and that should be at least 1 millimeter thick. If it's less than that, then we've got some recession going on. So I'm going to use my vernier caliper, and I'm going to try to get a measurement right on the very edge of that, right there. And that's fun because it's kind of thin, but keep working at it. Okay, I get about 1.36, which is plenty of meat, so that indicates that this valve is not really experiencing recession. I'm going to take one more measurement. It's always good to get a couple of these and see what you believe when you get done. Try that. It's kind of tricky to catch it right on the very edge. I'm going to say about 132. So 1.3 and a little more is a good number. So the valve's not showing signs of recession. That said, we did find that it was leaking, so the seats at least need to be attended to. Perhaps a little cleanup is all that's required. But Randy Long, who's the guy who's going to do the work and put in the additional spark plug hole, he runs a company called Long's Mechanical Services in Pennsylvania. I'll let him take a look at all this, and he'll obviously do what's required.